Hello, class. This short lecture will revolve around some key concepts having to do with operating your own business, but also working within a business. And it's going to be intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship. So here we go. In this presentation, we're going to be discussing what an entrepreneur is, and also what an intrapreneur is. And that may be a term you haven't heard before, but it is a real term and it's an important term. And then the why, and in other words, why we do what we do and how that relates to entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship, and leadership. And then we're going to be focused, the last thing we focus on is reading lead and lag measurements. And those are very important for running a business, whether you're running your own business or working within a business. So what's an entrepreneur? So the entrepreneur it's an individual who undertakes risks associated with creating, organizing, and owning a business. That's more or less a textbook type definition. So that is something that, some of us have an entrepreneurial spirit. Some of us don't. Some of us are more comfortable in working with other people in an organization and not taking the risks associated. So we're going to be talking about that form as well. So what are the entrepreneur possesses personal characteristics, and we're going to be talking about some of those here. They need to be persistent, not give up, even in the face of failure. If they really believe in their ideas, then they're going to continue to pursue them. So again, right now we're just focused on entrepreneurs, and we'll get into intrapreneurs a little bit later. They need to be creative people, looking for new ways to do things and developing solutions to problems. Some of the great inventions or product and service launches over the last few years have been because of the fact that an entrepreneur was looking for a better way to do things, developing solutions for problems. We'll talk about some of that. And they need to be responsible, and they do what they're supposed to do, and they're held accountable. So they hold themselves accountable. An entrepreneur typically is working for themselves, and they do hold themselves accountable. And they're inquisitive, they're asking questions, they're seeking answers, and they're curious. And so these are four characteristics that a successful entrepreneur really must possess. So there's some other things that a successful entrepreneur needs to have, and that's to be goal-oriented. They need to be focused on goals, and they make goals for themselves. And sometimes the goals are too lofty, too high, but they still do that. They need to be independent, and this is really important. Not everybody can do this. And people, you may have done this yourself, had to work alone at a home office. It's very hard sometimes to stay motivated and stay connected and driven when you're all by yourself. And it doesn't work with everybody. That's why entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And an entrepreneur needs to be self-confident. They need to believe in yourself and your abilities. And that's so true, because they need to be able to take risks and be self-confident. And the risk taking is not to be afraid of doing new things. The risk taking concept is one that will hold a lot of people back from being entrepreneurs, because they really do not want to take major risks. They'd rather be more measured and not take risks. If that's the case, you might not be a really effective entrepreneur. So entrepreneurs, they innovate and they create disruptions in industries. And let's look at Uber for a second. Let's focus on, there's Uber and Airbnb, but let's focus specifically on Uber. Did you ever wonder how these businesses were started? And they were started by the founder of the company of being frustrated by the status quo, ordering a taxi cab or hailing down a taxi cab, having no idea what the fare is going to be, and completely unpredictable in that way. And they don't know of, they have to pay cash to the cab driver unless they take credit cards. So there's the predictability. It was one issue. Also the cost. So the taxi cabs made money. They make a profit margin. Airbnb found a way to operate in the same space. However, they were able to cut the cost of it. So it's predictability. You can track your ride. You don't need to have cash. You can, the app allows you to pay for the service. So these things, this was made possible by technology, and technology helped drive these concepts. So this the same with Airbnb, and I'll bet you if I were to ask everyone to raise their hand, if this was live, almost everyone in the class would have said that they have taken Uber or stayed in an Airbnb. But technology was a big part of it, and also the intellectual capital for developing the concept. So now now that we've looked at entrepreneurship and some of the skills and qualities that an entrepreneur must possess, we're going to look at intrapreneurship. I think the best way to look at that is to compare them. And so entrepreneurial activity is basically by the entrepreneur. It's a one person shop. They are running their own business, or they are designing a concept that could eventually take off like Uber. However, the intrapreneur, they are operating with entrepreneurial activity within a business. So we're going to define that a little bit more. As far as entrepreneurship is concerned, the rewards go to the entrepreneur. So if the entrepreneur wins, they win. With entrepreneurs, the rewards go to the company, or at least most of them do go to the company. So the entrepreneur is acting like an entrepreneur. We're using a lot of the same qualities and a lot of the same skill sets, but since they're not taking the risk is being taken by the company. I should say they're not taking personal financial risks. The company could be taking risks for them, with them, but they're not taking the individual's not taking the financial risk. And so again, risk taken by the entrepreneur, risk taken by the company. And most rewards go to the company, and the rewards go to the entrepreneur on the other side. So more about entrepreneurship is a system that allows an employee to act like an entrepreneur within an organization that we have discussed. So entrepreneurs they're self-motivated, just like entrepreneurs. They're action-oriented people, just like entrepreneurs, and they have leadership skills and think outside the box. So they do a lot of what the entrepreneurs um, do what the entrepreneurs do as well. In other words, they have the same skill set, the same activities, but it's just a different way of, it's just a less risk because you're working within the constraints of an actual business as opposed to running your own business. And these are just some of the comparisons here, which is sort of ways you can identify entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And so you can sort of review that, but this sort of just reinforces what I just mentioned to you. Now we're going to talk about something called the why statement. This is inspired by Simon Sinek, who it's the who, what, and why. So who is Starbucks? Well, Starbucks makes coffee and coffee drinks primarily, right? That's their core business. You know, they're a retailer, like restaurant, that serves that kind of product. What are they? So that's who they are. What they are is they produce different coffee drinks, and you can look at the menu and what they're doing. Then they make good coffee drinks. But then the question is, why do they do it? Why? So the why is, this is something that if you create a good why statement, you can inspire employees, also your customers. And their why statement is, it's usually a loftier thing. You can say what you do, you can say, you know, how you do it, but and that's fine, but you're not really saying why is, in case of Starbucks, to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighborhood at a time. So that's the overarching vision. That's what they do. That's what they do that could inspire somebody. When you're looking at, here's another, on the bottom of the screen is another why statement. And it's to make contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance humankind. And, you know, if that, this is Apple, a vision statement from Apple, and they have, or a why statement from Apple, they have a lot of them. Another one might be for them is, we challenge the status quo, and everything we do, we challenge the status quo, is another why statement they have used in the past. Now, what they are, or what they are, you know, a computer manufacturer primarily. And then, so that's what they are. You know, how they do it, they develop high quality products, including iPhones and all the other products, Apple TV, Apple Watches, personal computers, all the things that they specialize in. But why they do it is really the essence of who they are, is the why. The why is, you know, to make a contribution to the world by making tools that advance humankind, to constantly challenge the status quo. That's why they do it. So there's a video embedded in this week's content from Simon Sinek, which goes over it a little bit more. I asked you to watch that so you understand the difference between the what, how, and why. But the why is the key here. And because it really sets the tone for the entire company and guides the decisions people make. Also sets the tone for customers, because they want to be involved with businesses that can really define what their why statement is. last major topic we're going to discuss is the lead and lag measurements of a business. So let's just look at what they are. The lag measurement tells you if you've achieved your goal. It's the scoreboard. It's the final score of the game. The lead measurements tell you if you are likely to achieve that goal. It's the performances of the players, if you want to make a sports analogy, the turnovers they make, things like that could lead to the final score. So the lag measurements tracks the success of your important goal, whatever that is. Lags are measures you spend time losing sleep over because they're the things that like total revenue, profit, quality assurance, customer satisfaction. They're called lags because by the time you see them, the performance that drove them has already passed. You can't do anything to fix it. At the end of the quarter, you can't go back and fix the quarter if your sales were down. They are history. However, the lead measurement tracks the critical activities that drive the lag measurement. So an example of a real basic example of a lead and lag measurements are a common lag measurement is weight loss. However, the activities that lead that lead up to the weight loss are lead measurements. The lag measurement, so in other words, diet and exercise could be a lead measurement, right? Especially especially diet, if you're talking about losing weight, like a low carb diet, you start a low carb diet and you can measure that as a lead measurement. And then finally, at the end of the month, the lag measurement is when you step on the scale and see how you've done. So the lead measurements and your ability to apply proper lead strategies will result in a better lag measurement. And I think the scale and losing weight is probably the clearest one for people to understand. The important thing is to use this for business. So the last slide, we're going to just wrap up and talk about course activities. There's going to be, like all of the short courses in this program, there's going to be an assignment, there's going to be a discussion question, and there's going to be a quiz. So the assignment in this case will be a little bit different. It's going to be a matching exercise where you match terms. And then the discussion question is going to be just answer the discussion question and be part of that. And then there's going to be a multiple choice quiz. Before you do the assignment, the discussion question, or the quiz, I ask you to review all the material. It's not a lot of heavy reading. It's going to be mostly videos for this course. So just review the videos. They're very important. And there's going to be everything we've talked about in this presentation will either be in the assignment, in a discussion question, or in the quiz. So good luck with that. And thank you again.